Who's that guy in that orange shirt? Who must be the fence expert? It's almost time to talk about the fences. It's time to discuss operations and expenses. It's really time to elevate small businesses. It's time for Joe to drop his knowledge. It's relentless. This rhyme of mine is getting a bit ridiculous. So here we go. We're live with Joe. Enjoy the show.
What is up, Fist fam? So good to be back with you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another live Q&A Ask the Experts episode, coming to you live from the Expert Professional Wood Care Studios. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys are listening to the podcast, what you're listening to is a recorded version of a live Q&A that we host most every Saturday from 10 to 11-ish Central. I say 11-ish because sometimes we get to talking and it goes a little bit longer. If you guys watch the channel, you recognize this gentleman, Michael. He's been on before, but the shirt looked a little different last time, I believe. We'll get into what the shirt says and who Michael's with, and we're also got a couple more guests to bring up here in just a minute. If you guys are listening to the podcast, it would mean the world if you leave us a review along with some stars. That would be awesome. If you guys are watching this on social media, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, those are all the things that Mark says I'm supposed to ask you guys for. Really helps out the show. We appreciate it a lot. Let us know you guys are here by dropping comments in the comments below. And as we get into the conversation, feel free to pipe in with any questions you might have. With all that being said, obviously Michael is here. Michael is with Mid-America Fence Supply out of Minneapolis. We have a couple other folks to bring up as well. We've got both Kaya and Jim, also from Mid America. Guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Of course. Guys, I guess we all kind of met. Well, I've known Michael for a while, but we met at the Fence Show in Vegas. Was the first time we had met. And I'll be honest, it was kind of the first time that I not only met you guys, but really met Mid America Fence Supply. Prior to the Fence Show, the Fence Show in Vegas, I didn't really know Mid America Fence Supply. I mean, obviously, leading up to it, there was a tremendous amount of marketing around the sponsorship of the Fence Show. But before that, I hadn't really heard of Mid America Fence Supply, I guess. Was that on purpose? Was this kind of like the premiering of Mid America Fence Supply at the Fence Show and Security Expo?
Yeah, we definitely wanted to make a splash in our, premiere of the Mid America Fence Supply and kind of create some buzz around it, have people wonder, have it be a little mysterious, but also be there and show the support for the industry.
I'll be honest, that was kind of how it happened for me. As I started seeing the promotions that Brian was putting out with the FWA Mid America everywhere, I was like, how do I not know these folks? Like, they are everywhere. I feel like I should know them. And so I would say mission accomplished on the making a splash. How was the show for you guys? Good show?
Yeah, I really liked it. It was great. I think Brian did a wonderful job.
Agreed. So can we back up a little bit more past that? How did Mid America come to me? Mid America Fence Supply. Obviously, the company didn't just show up at the Fence Show. The company's been kind of building and growing. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess a lot of it started a few years ago. In reality, with our fence company, trying to build, get materials and stuff, and a lot of it stemmed from COVID.
Okay.
We were, I'm sure a lot of you out there, a lot of your listeners know that, some of the big manufacturers, some of the big fence dealers, you'd order up a truckload of vinyl and they'd scrape together whatever they could and put it on a truck. And half the time what you got, you couldn't even build a fence with. You were like, well, that's great. That was supposed to be a balanced load. Not balanced.
Yeah, we didn't get any gates.
Yeah,
perfect.
Or uprights, or hey, thanks for the 16-foot rails and pickets that now we get to cut up and make into something. It was just a real pain, and it was very hard to schedule jobs and everything from that. And we decided, well, what if we had all of our own material and we didn't have to worry about this?
Sure.
And we started building up our stock material, and then it kind of got, as everything with Pat, it kind of got a little carried away. And you got to know the guy.
Yeah.
And then we started hearing a lot of things, from a lot of different people, a lot of smaller crews and stuff around the area. They were like, we can't even get material. They're always out. We can't get it. Or they won't even sell it to us. We're too small. Mm-hmm. And that really, I think, fed the idea for Pat. I'm really sick and tired of, the big places just not being able to help out people. And there's a lot of areas out there where people are just so far away from, a distributor. Their only option is the big box store.
Sure.
And, it's not that there's lower quality or anything like that. It's just the different pricing and everything else and the amount of, options you have. It's the same thing with them. They carry a ton of different stuff and, they may not have all of it.
Yeah. They may one or two of a lot of things.
I need a box of, 2 3/8 tension bands. And they're like, well, we got 5, and we just got sick of it. And we kind of found a little niche that, hey, maybe we should service some of these people. And that's kind of a lot of how it was born.
Yeah, I think the greatest companies in the world probably are born from necessity, right? Just noticing that there is a need in a market somewhere and then trying to fulfill that need. Now, and so you said it came from a fence company. So prior to Mid America, there was a fence company that operated for a lot of years, yeah, and continues to operate. I don't want to say operated past tense, but also part of maybe the larger family is a fence company there in Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's Northland Fence.
Northland Fence, and not just in Minneapolis though, right? Kind of all through the Minnesota region. Is that right?
Yeah, we pretty much hit everywhere that we can.
Sure. It's
You know,
a big state. It's a big state, but
it is a big state. I mean, we don't service everywhere. I mean, there's a lot of people on the outskirts and stuff. I mean, you know, we're pretty much within an hour and 15-minute drive. That's kind of our area.
perfect. But I say that to say that's kind of where the experience comes from, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is bringing it from that fence company into Mid America. Now, in researching for the show and talking with you guys before the show, one of the things Northlands is known for is their customer service, right? Just making sure that every job is done right and that every customer is taken care of. Would that be fair?
Yeah, it's one of our main things is to have a good reputation, continue that, and install quality fences, because without a quality fence, how are you going to get that positive review?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things when we all had dinner, that's one of the things that Patrick was talking about is just being very focused on the customer experience, making sure they have the best experience possible. And sometimes, you know, I don't want to say the expense of the company, but that the profit isn't the first and foremost thought, right? Customer service comes first, and then obviously the revenue comes after. But a lot of companies maybe get that switched, right? Especially companies of size. Before this, I shared that there's a company that comes kind of down into our market occasionally. Large company, multiple offices, this sort of thing, tons of crews, not necessarily known for quality. They go more for the quantity than they do for the quality. And I think that's where you see that ideal flip from, you know, profits first, customer experience second, to customer experience comes first. And then, you know, if we do our job right, everyone's happy, there should be profits at the end of it. I guess what I'm saying is it's unique in that, you know, putting customers first, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of a quote guy, and one of the things, a pretty shrewd investor by the name of Warren Buffett out there always said, you know, it takes 20 years to build a good reputation and 5 minutes to destroy it. And if you think about that, you'll do business differently.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's that was, I've always been a firm believer in always doing the right thing, and even when no one's looking. And that's how, you know, that's how we operate. And that's why I joined the team, for one of the main reasons.
Well, and especially in today's day and age of social media, right? As far as when we're talking about reputation management, social media is just Wild West experience of you can get reviews from all corners of the planet, whether or not they're your customers or not. So it kind of highlights the need for extreme customer service almost. Mm-hmm. So you guys have brought that through to Mid America. How do you guys see that translate from Northland to Mid America Fence Supply?
Well, because we have all of that experience dealing with more of a business to customer, you know, sometimes homeowners, they can be difficult and they have a lot of questions. We're used to that. We're used to troubleshooting, coming up with different solutions, supporting somebody who maybe isn't as knowledgeable as we are in the market or on a specific idea. So we're here to help, you know, not just with the materials, but with information. You need specifics from us to help you sell or to convince a customer to help portray a certain message. We're here for you. We get it. We know the daily challenges. And for us supporting that company, it just makes it extremely easy. It's just a second nature. It's a habit of ours that we've picked up, and we enjoy doing that. We want to help, and that gives us fulfillment.
You know, there's nothing that teaches someone patience and customer service like dealing with residential fencing clients sometimes. Patience and grace and all that comes along with it.
Oh, you're not wrong.
So let's talk a little bit about Mid America again. So Mid America based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Is that right?
Yes.
Yep.
So what does the footprint look like right now as far as who are we talking about for ideal clients and customers of Mid America? Where would they be?
Yeah, they kind of fall under that small to medium, moderate size customer who's not, super big, has a handful of crews, maybe
Mhm.
looking to expand that, kind of being neglected by those main suppliers in the market.
So Brian Fredrickson he's got a show where he was talking to different suppliers and that sort of thing. And one of the things he likes to talk about is that kind of the average fence company in the United States right now is three crews, 3 to 4 million in revenue thereabouts. There are obviously a fair amount larger. There's a fair amount smaller. So the average kind of hits that 3 to 4 crew company, which to your point, Kaya, those size companies can sometimes feel I don't want to say neglected, but maybe lesser than other companies in the eyes of some of the distributors.
Yeah, absolutely. And we recognize that because we started small. Northland had a handful of crews. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And over time, we gained crews, able to purchase more in bulk rather than job loading. And, fortunately, that was a good thing for us. And a lot of companies are not at that stage, and we understand that. And that takes time to get there. But we're here to help you, to support you in any way that you need, whether it's a job lot or if you're interested in a truckload.
I was going to say also, there's been a lot of consolidation in the industry.
Yeah.
Private equities come in and bought pieces of bought companies and pieced them together with other companies. And ultimately, and not that that's a bad thing, not that that's a good thing, but a lot of the customers that we talk to feel like they're a number when they're dealing with, XYZ.
Sure.
And that's where you're not going to feel like a number with Mid-America. It's just truly a family-run business. You're not a number. You're a valuable part of our business philosophy. And I mean, that's one of the things that I hear constantly is like, and some people, guys that run 2 crews, 3 crews, maybe $1.5 million in revenue, they might not buy enough.
Sure.
From to get service, and we hear that a lot. And the small guys and the medium guys are the ones that keep our industry rolling.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, I would say they're putting in the bulk of the fence in the United States is these companies that say it's 5 crews or less, only because there's so many of those. I think Brian came up with a figure. It's like 57,000 fence companies in the United States, plus or minus, that recognize themselves as a fence company. Now, this could be, landscapers that also install fence. It could be situations like that. But I have to think the majority of those 57,000 fall in that sub 5 crew category, which unfortunately, and I'll share my experience. Others' experiences may vary, of course. This isn't a reflection on any one supplier or manufacturer, but when we were quite a bit smaller than we are today, we did $1 million, $1.5 million in revenue, that sort of thing. It was hard to get the attention of some of these suppliers. In that, one conversation sticks out in my mind where we were talking about it, and then they came out and said, or came out and asked, what is your annual revenue? So, we're about $1.5 million, but we've got some marketing plans. We've got just some ideas on how to grow that. And it's like, well, I need to go ask, I need to go have a conversation with my boss. I need to probably ask if it's okay. And I walked away from that conversation feeling about that tall, just that he was going to have to ask permission to sell me fencing stuff. And I have to think that experience of mine is probably similar to experiences maybe that other people have had.
Oh, sure.
We've had a lot of those same stories, from a lot of this, almost identical to that, for a lot of the guys up here, they come into us and, and don't get us wrong. We're not a company for everybody,
Sure.
Sure. We have a certain niche that we want to fill, and, that's really our target audience. But we're looking at those guys that, are coming in, they're like, gosh, I don't want to use any company names. I don't know if I can, but like the Helcos or whatever. They're like, gosh, I just felt like you said, I was like this big, and they didn't even want to help me. I couldn't even get an account there, and I'm just starting out. I want to build this. We want to help you build that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a lot of experience. I mean, like I said, we took our company from very small in a very short period of time, and we built it. And on a lot of just plain old core values that we wanted that we wanted to instill in the first place in our crews and, the company in general.
Absolutely. Well,
And we wanted to, put that over on Mid-America as well.
absolutely. Well, and Kyle said just a few minutes ago that everyone starts from somewhere, right? Like that's the part that maybe some folks failed to, I don't know about realize. I mean, I'm sure everyone realizes that, but maybe they fail to give it the proper importance is that, I don't know of a single, I don't know about, I don't know that a company typically pops up with 10, 15, 20 crews out of nowhere. Right? They typically start with a crew or a handful of crews and then build that to what becomes these sizable companies. But everyone has to start somewhere. And they typically start with a crew or a few crews.
And we want to help those. We really want those companies that want to win, and we want to help you win. That's the kind of, that's what we did. We want to share that same message, and we have a lot of knowledge within the company because we come from a fence install company. If there's questions, especially when it comes to like the driving and stuff like that, we've been doing it for years. Another guy on your fence thing is Mr. Fence. He does a lot of, TikTok videos and stuff like that of all his testing and everything else. And, we do the same thing. We don't make videos of it. We have a few, but we have our own little lab too, where we've literally tested everything that we do, and tried to come up with the best possible way. Pat's for years wanted to, hey, let's install this. I don't want any digging. Let's make it, let's find a way to put a gate stiffener in without having to, cement it. And I did testing after testing after testing. I'm like, Pat, it's just, if you want it to be rock solid and you don't want to have, callbacks on gates, you got to put it in. You got to put a stiffener in. You got to cement it. And it just, that's the way it works. And it's through all that testing and everything that we've done and all that experience and knowledge that we've attained through that, that's, we're kind of moving that over to Mid-America.
Let's talk about that for just a minute, just in kind of the niches, because I think there's a couple important things to touch on here with Mid-America. First and foremost is the driving. Mid-America, well, Northland has been driving post for how long? For a very long time.
Chain link for almost 20 years. Vinyl we've been doing for, I think, 7 to 8. And same with ornamental, 7 to 8.
I think this is what we're seeing is that, so driving has come maybe to the forefront in the industry fairly recently, just a lot of people talking about it recently. But what we're seeing is companies pop up like Northland, Mid-America through Northland, saying, guys, we've been doing this for quite a while. So it's not a new concept, I guess is my point. There are companies that have been doing this, in your case, for decades.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about, there's a good video on Facebook. Pat actually just uploaded it, or maybe Kaya did. And it's like, it talks about, there's been for building, stop signs and all that stuff. Those have been driven forever. Built bridges.
Yeah.
Bridges are always, driven down, all the pile driving, pile drivers union. I mean, that's what they do. They drive them down. Yeah. You don't see a lot of cement being involved in that, especially up here, in the upper Midwest. You got sub-zero temperatures.
Frost heave
is a real concern. And we found out that, through driving our posts, that cuts that down to an absolute minimum.
Nice. Well, and to use your point about bridges, so highway fence that I've seen built is almost exclusively driven. And these fences are built to stop semis from crossing into oncoming traffic and that sort of thing. So again, the point here being it's not a new concept. It's one that's been used for decades. It's just recently, I guess, been brought into the limelight of, to your point, there's people making videos about it now and that sort of thing, but it's not necessarily new. Something that's been done for quite a while.
Right.
One of the other things I think is really interesting, and we'll probably talk about for a little while about Mid-America. So you talked about, big box stores or maybe some big suppliers that carry just everything you could ever think of, right? So I had a conversation with a rep the other day that was in telling me a story about their inventory that they had a customer that came in needing a 6 5/8 black post. He needed it 12 foot tall. He goes, actually, we've got 6 or 7 sticks that are 24 foot long. And the question the customer asked him is, why? why are you inventorying 6 5/8 black post? But I think that's pretty common though, right? When we're talking about a lot of the big box stores or big suppliers, is they carry everything, just any unique, obscure style, they'll carry it. Now, to your point earlier, is they might not carry many of them. They might carry 5 or 6 of them, but they carry a million. Mid America does things a little bit differently. Is that right?
Yeah, we definitely do, because you can have all of these pieces but not have any stock, like you said, and that's the problem. And so we picked the most common materials and the pieces, hardware that you use to install it, and focused on that. So we have 2-inch posts, and we use that for your corners, your ends, and your lines for everything on a chain link. And that helps
Okay.
with inventory for us, the consumer, the person buying it, and then also for your installers not having to run out of specific posts and you can't finish the job. You've got one that you're worrying about, and you have to make sure you have enough, just one.
Absolutely. Well, kind of let's talk for a minute about so if you guys are in the fencing industry, you probably follow the other podcasts, one of them being the Protecting Your Radius podcast. Nate's channel over there. If you guys haven't checked it out, you should. That's actually the first time I had heard you guys was on Nate's channel. And Kai, you were talking a little bit about kind of the hardware packs that you guys put together. And I thought that was a really unique take. I'm sure everyone here probably listened to that, but just in case they didn't, can you kind of maybe reiterate or re-explain the thought behind the hardware packs?
Yeah. So, similar to having all of these SKUs and posts and running out of things, we recognized that. And we saw that, okay, for a corner kit, you need a specific amount of tension bands, brace bands, railings, cap, everything. And in the morning when you're getting everything ready, you have to count all of those pieces individually. And how many times when you're counting 100 of them do you forget where you are when you're counting?
Yep.
And damaging them. How many 5-gallon buckets you have in your warehouse with just random fittings that are destroyed now because they've been sitting in the office forever. So we created these kits, these packs that have specifically everything you need for that corner post, that end post. So you're not having to worry about counting in the morning. When you're laying out the job, you just throw these kits down. Everything's in there ready to go. So when the crew comes along, they open it up and they're for sure having everything there. And it's made all in-house here. And they're super efficient and convenient for everybody on our side and for the installers.
Yeah, I can't tell you, and you guys probably understand this, how infuriating it is when a job is not done because we're missing a couple brace bands or something. It's like, guys, we're talking about a 5-figure project here, and we need a couple brace bands. Yeah, please come on back and pick 2 up so you can go close this job out, or whatever the example is, or because, and your point's right, Kai. So you're counting to 100, and you're counting when you need to get out of there. So you've got somebody pressuring you to get on the road, and it's first thing in the morning, which I don't know really anyone who thinks very clearly at 6 a.m. or whenever you're counting these things out. Not less than ideal conditions when these things are being counted.
Yeah, you want to minimize the room for mess up.
Yep, absolutely.
How much money do you think you've lost over the years with having to have a guy run back here to pick up, some tension bands, brace bands, and a tension bar?
So much fuel.
so
much fuel. Diesel this morning was $4.38 a gallon. Oh, that makes me cry thinking about, the trip across town. Well, it's just across town.
Sure.
Well, okay. So we've got 60 miles of drive time and all this and that. And you've got a crew sitting and waiting. Okay, so when you said 5-gallon buckets, I got flashbacks of white crack, because it's the old concrete buckets, right, that are cracked. So you can't use them for concrete anymore. So you put fittings. When I was a kid, I was on set crews and stretch crews and that sort of thing. I can't tell you how many stretch crews, half the truck bed was 5-gallon buckets just full of stuff because you never knew if you'd need it.
Sure.
And I can't imagine what the customers thought when we had this 5-gallon bucket spread all over the yard looking for some fitting. Like, less than professional is probably how I would describe this. But you're right. But that is common. That is... You keep a few 5-gallon buckets full of stuff because you never know unless you have your stuff prepackaged, and then it's all organized it's more efficient, but it's also a better look for the customer that you show up holding bags of exactly what you need.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very good. So when we're talking about, so obviously I like living in the wire world. That's something that we do through Ozark Wireworks. It was surprising when I was talking to you guys over dinner, and this falls into the limiting SKUs, right? Limiting types of inventory. You guys don't really carry as far as all the different types of, so when we're talking about wire, a lot of times we're talking about galvanized and black. We're talking about 11.5, 11, 9 gauge, 6 gauge. Black, you could be talking about 9 gauge finish, 8 gauge finish, black, brown, and green. You guys really cut that down to a minimum as well. Is that right?
Yeah, we did. Because, customers, they galvanize, I mean, it's not the most appealing fence out there compared to a black chain link, especially.
Yeah.
And not a lot of jobs that we sell for Northland happen to be galvanized. They all wanted black, unless they were trying to match something that was existing, and pretty soon they're going to just replace it in general. So we made it the same price as our black to kind of limit the number of people who wanted it, because you could just get black for the same amount, and it looks way better. And pretty soon the amount of customers getting that galv just continued to decrease. And eventually we just completely stopped offering it. And our customers, if they want galv, they're welcome to go somewhere else. We don't have it, and we're fine with that. We can lose a little bit of business to become more efficient, and at the end of the day, be more profitable, have a better life for our employees and ourselves.
I think there's an important lesson there in that, what is the term? So a jack of all trades is a master of none, right? And I think you can apply that to a lot of fence companies. And listen, we have been one of those in the past where if a customer called up and said, hey, can you do this insert obscure fence type? We're like, oh yeah, we could probably, we're fence guys. We could probably figure it out. Like, if your check clears, we will figure out how to build this fence. I have lived that life. So I know, I have a feeling there are more people out there that also live that life. But when you start honing in on your superpowers, right? When you start honing in on what you are super good at doing, to your point, Kai, all of a sudden employee satisfaction goes up, because we're not trying to retain knowledge on building 20 different types of fence. We're paring that down to 5 to 10. Customer experience goes up because, again, you've got everything you need right from the get-go, and your folks are super trained on those exact types of fence. Like I said, I think super important lesson there is that the more you can specialize, the more you can niche down, the better it is, customers, team members, for your company in general.
And that's like I said earlier where I was going with we're not for everybody, fence supplier.
Yeah.
We cater to the driven system, and we are for the guys that want the 4-foot and 5-foot black chain link, the 4-foot and 5-foot flat top steel, the white and tan and khaki, 6-foot tall, 4-foot tall vinyl.
Yeah.
We want to have it. This is our niche, and this is the way we built our company. And we kind of want to, teach everybody the same way. And that it doesn't make us for everybody, because there are a lot of customers out there that want that weird scallop thing, or can you do a horizontal board, or,
Yeah.
And the other thing too is what blows people away. We stopped doing wood, 6 years ago. And everybody said, Pat, you are crazy. This is like 26 or 30% of your market. He's like, I don't care, because I don't want to do wood anymore. It's too hard. To warranty it, we get a lot of, you get most of your complaints, like, it fades because, of course, the homeowner didn't want to spray it down or, stain it.
Sure.
You're like, well, it looks terrible. Well, that's your fault, but we got tired of that. We wanted to be more maintenance free and, for everybody. And so we got rid of wood, and, honestly, it was a great move. It didn't affect us at all.
And the nice thing there is you become known as the company that specializes in the things that you're really good at.
Exactly.
Right. So what better marketing tool than if you want to specialize in chain link, ornamental, and vinyl as the company that only does those? If you want to do something else, we've got some great recommendations for you. But if you want to do one of these that we are incredibly good at, then we will absolutely rock that project for you.
Yeah, I think the Costco philosophy really resonates in our company culture because, you know, you go to Costco and they have 3 or 4 different styles of jeans, right?
Right.
It's not like going into Old Navy where they got a back wall with 75 different styles of jeans. You know, the KISS philosophy, keep it simple, stupid. And you know, you don't go into Costco looking for a particular cut of meat.
Sure.
They have what 80% of the people are going to use. You go to a butcher shop for that, right? For a lamb chop or something like that. So I think that's I think that's our philosophy as well. You know, we, as Jim and Kaya both said, you know, we're not for everybody, but we can help 80% of the industry.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, 4 foot and 5 foot 3-rail flat top ornamental is probably
the majority.
Yeah, I mean, you go to being in the business on the sales side. You know, coming from my past environment, when I started, I'd always want to see a yard, and I'd walk into a yard and I'd see, you know, 6 foot, 3-rail, scallop picket top or something like that, and I'd say, does that move? No, we have a couple companies that buy that, but we got to have it because, God forbid they sell a job, we got to have it here. And it's like that. Yeah. If it doesn't move, why is it there? Is always my thought.
Well, yeah. And they're allocating space for that thing that they may only sell once or twice a year.
And your turns are affected. Your profitability is affected. You're tying up inventory dollars with dead products.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's always important, but with interest rates the way they are, that land is valuable, right? The allocation of space is incredibly important.
Well, and how many times you go to these places and gosh, I need 400 feet. Like, oh, geez, sorry, man, we only got 350.
Yeah.
Oh, well, when are you getting the other 50 feet? Should be in a few weeks. Well, my customer wants that fence installed today, not in a few weeks, So you have that. And that's one thing with us, we don't just carry a little bit of material. We carry a lot of material, an insane amount of material. You want it, it's going to be there. So when you show up or you place that order and people are you sure you have it? Yeah, I'm sure we have it.
Yeah. You don't even have to look. You just know, I guarantee we have it. Yes.
Exactly. That's our philosophy because, like I said, a big thing for us was every time you'd go to these, the bigger places, and they were always short something, always. And there was not, and when we started, we were just like everybody else. We used to go pick up, and I was one of the guys there. I used to go with my shop guy daily and go pick up the load for the next day, until you got bigger. And then you went a couple of days or a week, and you pick it up at a time, and it never failed. Never failed. You'd show up, you're like, oh man, sorry, man, we got 3/4 of your order. Will that work? No, that doesn't work.
Of course not.
It was the most frustrating thing that ever.
Yeah, I can't close out a job with 3/4 of the material. It just will not work.
The homeowner that bought the fence because they have a dog or a young kid or they got a pool,
right?
They don't have a gate on their job, and and so that's sort of a problem,
right? Well, and that's going to hold the whole thing up.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what your contract says about being substantially complete. You are not getting that payment until that job is 100% done and they're satisfied. And so in our market, so here in Springfield, Missouri, we don't have any suppliers in that, none of the nationwide suppliers that everyone's familiar with. We're 3 hours from anywhere. Kansas City, St. Louis, and Tulsa, which means the suppliers typically make drives in. They'll bring a supply truck typically on Thursdays. And so say you ordered a bag of 2.5-inch tension bands for a project next week or whatever. I can't tell you how many times that bag showed up as brace bands. And they're like, oh, they grabbed the wrong thing again. Those guys in the yard, it's always the guys in the yard. It's never a purchase order that got entered incorrectly. It's never always the guys. Always sorry, guys in the yard, but you guys are taking shots in all directions.
Yeah.
Yes. But and so they're like, oh, we'll throw a bag on the truck next week. Well, some of those were going to a job next week. We'll be back in town Thursday. Oh, great. So I'm just going to tell my customer to patiently wait till Thursday for you guys to come bring this correct thing. No. So then it turns into a 6-hour round trip drive for a bag of fittings.
Sure.
Let me tell you, that's 6 hours of just sitting on that, just burning hate for a while.
And diesel.
A lot of diesel.
$4.33 a gallon.
Thing. I'll pay you today or pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
yeah, right.
Exactly.
It made me so furious, and so all of that leads into this, and it's you guys drawing from your experience with Nordland's in that customer service first, customer experience focused. Of you're gonna get what you order from us, and we're gonna have everything you need. Right? We're gonna have what you need when you need it.
Yeah, and if let's say that if there's a mistake on your order or something happens, because of the shop guy, we're gonna make sure we're gonna get that thing overnighted.
Yeah.
Anything we have to get you that material. Let's say we do for a kit to get misplaced, or you miscount. Sure. You might miscount.
Yeah.
How many times does your estimator go out and estimate a job and say, oh yeah, it should be 4 corners, 6 ends, and 58 line posts, and you get out there and guess what? It was 5 corners and 8 ends by the time the project came around because the customer might have changed it. And
that's the thing. Yeah. Mode. Yeah. How many times has the customer said, "Hey, what if we you're there to set posts that day?" They said, "What if we put a gate right over here?" Well, what if you told me that about a week ago and I could have gotten the right, but a gate's a gate, and that's additional revenue, and that's what the customer wants. So that's what we're here to do. So it can be a million different reasons.
Oh, exactly. And we want to be that company that services that, that for you, because we've run into it, like you, thousands of times. I don't think, when you have that many crews going out every day, I mean, we have runners for crying out loud,
Sure.
Guys that sit in the shop because they know that they're going to have to go drive someplace to bring something. And guess what? When they get back, they're going to drive someplace else and bring something again. That's just a fact of life because, you have those customers that are constantly changing things on the fly on you that you're not expecting. And the gate analogy is perfect because I can't count how many times people have called it. Hey, can we add a gate? Can we make it a double? Hey, this double now it was supposed to be 8 foot. Now we want it 10. Mm-hmm. It just it's always changing, always evolving. So we want to be there for you, in that aspect because we've experienced it.
Well, and you can try to minimize it as much as we'll go out the Friday before and we learned this lesson, flags up everywhere. Your gates are going to go right here so they can visualize it. Because also a thing that happens is after the post gets set, they look at it and they go, I know I told you I wanted the gate right here, but what if you can try to minimize it as much as possible, but this stuff comes up all of the time.
Oh yeah.
And I have been guilty of miscounting also before. It could be terminal posts or hookups or more than once, actually. More than once it has happened.
Did you still blame it on the shop guy, though?
Those shop guys, I tell you what, they just, you give them the orders and then you never know.
They're just pulling what, we always used to say that salespeople don't make mistake. It's operational.
Yeah.
I know when I get back out to work on Monday, Zach, my shop guy, is going to be calling me and wanting to kill me. But
he's already got the dartboard with your face on it.
It's been up for a long time.
But the point being, people are human, right? Like mistakes are made, and it's not always on the customers. A lot of times it's on us, and the result being the make it right fast philosophy.
Absolutely.
So Mid-America is based out of Minneapolis, but it sounds like you guys are also doing some expanding. Is that right?
Yeah, because the Midwest is kind of our target area. Yeah. It's a lot of gapping with suppliers, and we want to fill those gaps with us. So branching into kind of the different states and becoming more accessible to those individuals.
Nice. Can we talk about a little bit about where you guys are thinking of expanding to, or is that something we'll keep everyone guessing on?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking into Iowa and kind of more of the
Okay.
north too to hit the Dakotas.
Okay.
Kind of strategically looking at good roadways, easy to maneuver around the Midwest and the U.S.
Sure. Very good. Very good. So if someone were located in the kind of upper Midwest right now, they would be an ideal person to reach out to you guys about maybe their supply needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we can have a conversation, learn about each other, figure out what needs that we can fill, and how we can help either keep you where you are, or if you're interested in, learning from our experiences and going to that next level, we're there to support you.
Very good, guys. What does the future look like for Mid America? I mean, obviously, I feel like the fencing community just recently found out about Mid America, so it's still we're still trying to learn more about you guys. But what does the future look like? If we could talk about the future for a minute.
Sky's the limit. I mean, we're starting out small, and we're starting for a target audience, and we're going to see where that takes us.
Now, Jim, I'm going to stop you for a second because small is relative, right? Because we have had conversations about the inventory that you guys hold right now, as far as for small is relative. Small is relative, maybe to service area or something like that. But you guys have been building, right? You guys are kind of putting yourself in a position to really capitalize on this.
Well, and let me put it this way. I said this on the Nathan Downs podcast that
I'm definitely calling it that next time I talk to him.
He'll love that. Pat and I were counting one day, and we were joking, and we were kind of looking. We figured out, there's another town that's a little ways away from us, about 30 miles, Apple Valley. And he says, we could build an ornamental fence to Apple Valley and back. So, I mean, that should tell you a little bit about our inventory without going too deep into it,
Yeah, absolutely.
Miles of it.
But I think it's important to talk about, though, just about
we're the it's a family-run company,
of course,
and that's the one thing. I mean, this was built out of Northland, and family is still involved. Kaya, second generation. Mm-hmm. I joked with her that her younger brother Landon will all be working for him one day. But this is truly a family-run organization with a family feel. Pat treats me like family. That's a good thing,
Sure.
Maybe it could be a bad thing if you. But anyhow, Pat's awesome, and Pat came from nowhere. I mean, Pat was someone who wasn't generational. Sure. His great grandfather didn't start a company, and then it was passed down from generation to generation. I mean, Pat truly is a self-made person, and he thinks differently about things. And I sold him for 8 years. He was, my wife always used to say that there's no such thing as a 15-minute conversation with him.
Or you.
No.
Or me.
Or you.
Yeah. So Squirrel, yeah. When the ADD kicks in. But anyhow, we won't talk about medications or anything like that. This is a fence podcast.
Well, to illustrate this, the dinner that we all kind of met everyone in person, if I remember right, that was like a 4-hour dinner.
Yeah.
Just because everyone was involved in these conversations, which I think is a good thing, right? I think it's all for the better. I wanted to hit on the inventory thing because how many times I'll again share my experience where it really feels like a lot of times inventory might be allocated to say, well, we can't fulfill your order because we've got this other order that we need to also fill. And we can fill a little bit of it now. And Jim, to use your point, a little bit 2 weeks from now. And I wanted to stress just not specifically how much inventory you guys have, but you guys hold significant amount to where that likely will not be an answer that someone gets from Mid-America is, well, we're a little bit shy on your order.
No. I don't know how to put it.
It's not a conversation.
In a good way. It's crazy.
Because there was so much forethought put into this, right?
There was it was a lot of planning. Pat spent a lot of time, planning this out, and It's just been a lot of planning. I mean, we're talking years and years that's gone into. He's had this idea for years, you know, and because it's always bothered him. And then, you know, during COVID and everything else, it just kind of took off. And he said, you know what? Forget it. We're not going to put it on the back burner anymore. Let's just go out there and kill it and get it done. And we did, you know, and he just started building and building and building and building and getting another building and then filling that and getting another building and filling that and driving my shop guys crazy because he can't decide which building he wants to put what in. So he keeps switching it around. So,
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the whole point is we have the material. If you order it and it's one of the things we carry, you're going to get it because we have it and we will always have it.
Because of the experience from Northland, right? Knowing how important it is to have ready access to this.
Yes. There's nothing, like I said, nothing more frustrating than going and every day going to pick up your job and they're just out of something.
Sure.
And especially, you know, when we had the vinyl, you know, oh, do you have any tan? And during COVID, one of the things is that 5-foot chain link was like the unicorn. You couldn't find it anywhere. And, you know, of course, that year, everybody wanted 5-foot chain links. You're like, well, you're going to have to wait a couple of weeks or a month or two.
Yeah.
You know, and it was frustrating.
That's where Ozark Wireworks came from. Is I got tired of hearing about these big delays in wire that shouldn't have been there. And so at one point, and it was silly stuff like 6-foot 9 gauge, which galvanized, which is almost like a commodity. Like it should be everywhere. We needed a truckload of it for a project, and the supplier said, "Well, it'll be about 16 weeks." I'm sorry, what? 16 weeks? What are we hand weaving this? What is going on here? And no, we've got a couple of orders we got to fill, and that's when we think production will be able to run this order. And so then I'd reached out to Burgandy makes the machine we use, and it was like 14 weeks to get a machine. Like we can get this machine and run the wire faster than placing the order with this other company. But that was kind of the reality during COVID. Was those answers were coming from everyone about this massive lead times on what should be common materials.
Exactly, and we just loaded up on all those common materials when we had the chance. You know, as soon as the stuff was starting to come in, we just started loading up on it, whether we needed it or not.
Well, and that's where the specialization comes in, right? Mm-hmm. That's where the limiting the number of SKUs comes in so that you can just stock up really deep on a handful of things rather than trying to get a little bit of, you know, a massive amount of SKUs.
Exactly.
Very good. Let's say hello to a few people. We haven't said hello to anybody yet. So, Paul, I just wanted to get really deep into this because, like, if you guys had been a fly on the wall at dinner, it was the best. The dinner itself was really good, but the conversations were just, it was very, I knew this conversation would be one that everyone wanted.
And that was coming from a guy that got up at 3 a.m. and had all kinds of flight delays, and you were up 24 hours basically.
More or
the
less.
Time change.
Well,
So
we were talking, and I was like, all right, so we're going to get in, and I'm going to take a nap, and then we're going to go to dinner. I absolutely hear how old I sound when I say that, but like that was my plan. That did not happen. Mark and I got on the show floor, and we were like talking to people about setting this and that up, and the next thing you know, we're like, oh, we're going to dinner.
I think we had to wheel a cot in for Mark at
Mark.
Gordon Ramsay's.
He was, the desserts came out, and
he picked up.
You could tell, but there was a little bit of like mixed feelings there. He's like, part of me wants to go to bed, part of me really wants some dessert. So anyway, but no, it was, but to be a fly on the wall for that whole dinner conversation was incredible. So I knew this conversation was going to go this way because there was a lot of things that I feel like are really interesting. Let's say hello to a few folks. Robert Evers, good day. You guys know Al Martins. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Al. Please say good morning also to everyone else.
Good morning.
Sarah Christopher, how are you? Good morning from Philly. Noah Devine, good morning, Joe. And Vince Fan from Massachusetts. Welcome, Noah. Hi, guys. Nick here from China. Nick, appreciate you joining in. Front Rock Fence, good morning, Joe. It's a beautiful day to wake up to frost on the stack of lumber.
He's in Canada.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just...
That's not a beautiful day.
I was going to say, our definitions of beautiful day, very different. Very different.
Yeah.
Muck Tape says, good morning, guys and gals. Great way to fill a need. Absolutely agree. Muck Tape, that's kind of an interesting product I think we should all keep an eye out for. Make it all things new, deck and fence care. We know Justin here. Warren Buffett made it built an amazing, successful business on reputation and destroyed it with politics and refusing to pay its fair share in taxes. Illustrates how quickly this can go, right? How fleeting reputation can be, right? In that you can go from this just bigger than life, and anyway, it's fleeting. Noah says, that's great how you guys take care of small to medium companies and give great customer service with having the experience installing and running crews, so you better understand. I think that's worth touching on again, is that talking about consolidation, kind of merging different companies together and making them work together and that sort of thing. I feel like that may be something that you lose touch on, or you lose track on, is that experience of knowing what these fence companies are going through. Right, talking about the material delays and talking about the receiving the wrong parts and needing to make it right quickly. Maybe that's something that's lacking there that Mid-America really has a thumb on the pulse of. We also know this guy. What's up, Benji? Good morning. Noah says, great idea having the hardware and fittings already pre-packed. That's why I wanted to talk about this. When I heard it on Nathan's show, I was like, we need to talk about this thing as well, because I think it was it's one of those ideas that is, once you hear it, it makes perfect sense. You're like, well, of course, that is the best idea. But why hadn't I thought about it in the last 20 years? Anyway, it is a great idea. Running stuff out, happens to a lot of us, absolutely. Jeff says, hello, Jerry Short.
Jeff, hello. Good friend of mine. Jeff and I are going to the World Series representing the Cardinals.
Okay,
Actually,
there you go. There you go.
If the Cardinals make it that far, Jeff, I don't know. They're only 22 and a half games out, so.
I wouldn't buy your tickets quite yet.
All right. Well, they were cheap. They were really cheap.
I bet they were. Hitting it everywhere. Absolutely. Jerry Short says, good morning from Vancouver, Washington. Keith Pace. What's up, Keith? Yeah, that's the thing. So the suppliers act like it shouldn't be a big deal if you make this. So I was talking about that 6-hour round trip, 3 hours there, 3 hours back. They're like, well, if you want to come up and pick it up, we'll have it ready for you.
And that's a guy.
No kidding.
That's a guy in Texarkana that
Yeah.
is pretty remote from suppliers.
Yeah. I have
What's
a
up,
feeling
Keith?
it's happened to Keith once or twice.
How's it going,
Absolutely.
Keith?
Keith goes on to say, hey, Joe, come on down Tuesday, no dig training with Mr. Finch himself. There you go. Very good. Guys, what haven't we talked about quite yet? We've talked about kind of the superpowers being, you obviously are a customer service focused business, having the background that you guys come from, that you guys have inventory just waiting. Are you seeing this, Mark? Okay.
Whoops.
Uh-oh.
It has technical difficulties. So my screen's just frozen. Man, what in the world? We need to act like we know what's going on here.
So, Kaya, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we're live still.
I think so. So, how's the Christmas Village coming?
It's good.
Did you have a good birthday? This doesn't feel weird at all. Hey, thanks, guys. We're gonna do this thing. Remember we were talking about this, on Nathan's podcast? We'll just do the same thing. Twiddle thumbs.
Hopefully they come back. My gosh.
Yeah, it'd be kind of nice if we at least knew something. My wife's literally sitting out in the truck with the dogs right now, waiting to come back inside.
Nice.
I feel bad for her. She's probably not going to be happy with me the rest of the day, but it's a long day. So
Yeah, it's still early.
I got plenty of time to make it up to her, I feel like.
Yeah.
Of course, I wonder if we're live. So
Yeah, we're on
everybody's still-
Facebook Live right now.
Oh, wow. Now it feels awkward.
Well, hello. Hi there.
It's like deja vu.
So good to see you guys.
Hey, that was great, Nathan. I mean,
Hey,
Ugh.
hey, it's all good.
I should preface this by saying I'm a fence guy that tries to do technology kind of stuff.
we don't even try. We have a Kaya for that.
Yeah.
We need a kayak. So I guess that's probably the first time that particular thing. So Chrome like froze on us. So that's the first time of that. So it's always new and exciting stuff. I don't even know where we are. So I guess everyone else saw it. Of all the people to take over the show, I'm good with Mid-America taking over the show. Absolutely. The show is in fantastic hands.
Hey, I'm glad we could help,
Well, maybe it was Frame It All's fault. So Frame It All says just got on and loving technical difficulties. So we're just like we were blaming shop guys before, we're looking for somebody to blame, and Frame It All just happened to show up and say that. All right, let's there's a lot of thoughts on why that happened. So
all blaming the shop guys, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, we have new show hosts. I'm good with that. It's like a whole new podcast. It is.
We really didn't know what to do, so
well, I apologize.
Talked too much ourselves.
When we were off, I was like, I hope they're still there. I don't know. Did we just like close the show, or did everything crash? Like I don't. And then Mark said, "No, the stream's still alive." Like, oh, thank goodness. So I appreciate you guys keeping this thing going. Noah had a good question. How do you guys handle shipping your materials to your customers? And then also, yes, hey, Mid-America took over the live. Yes, that also happened. But to bring this back to show to stuff, people, how do you guys handle shipping? So Noah's coming from the Massachusetts area.
It depends on what size the load is, where it's going, all the shipping, logistics fun. That's my area. Mm-hmm. We're going to put it on either a hot shot and get it out to you, or we're going to do an FTL or an LTL and get it shipped out to you.
Very good. Very good. So
we have one or two of our own hot shots. They handle probably within 100 to 200 mile radius, depending on the job. And once in a while, we're just like, hey, guess what? Yeah, you're going to Oklahoma. Enjoy. And
so I'm glad Noah asked that, because we hadn't even talked about that. So we talked about being upper Midwest, but really your guys' reach extends through the continental United States.
It really does. We haven't had a whole lot of that yet because, unfortunately the shipping to get to some of those places, unless you order something like, hey, we're going to order a truckload. Okay, we can get it to you. And that, that's decent. But, you ship something, to, even Oklahoma, 700-800 miles away, you're looking at a lot of shipping, and we don't want the customer to absorb a lot of that shipping cost. So we try and figure out ways to, we work with a lot of different shipping companies and, get the lowest prices we can for shipping. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we eat part of it.
Yep.
If it makes sense, because we're not, like I said, we're not out there to, I don't want to use the term, never mind. We're just not, we're out here to do a good job for everybody.
Yeah. Shipping can really add up. And we see that when, someone is wanting a couple pallets of wire, which I'm happy to do. But we have the conversation that shipping is going to be about as much as your material is. Like, it's just, when we're talking about 1 or 2 pallets at a time, it can really add up.
Yeah. And that's where it becomes a little problematic. We try and have, we have different tiers of orders that we do and different shipping, prices and stuff like that. Really, if you're in like a Massachusetts area, something like that, you're going to want to order a bigger order,
sure,
a little bit. It just makes sense for both of us in reality,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Noah, the answer is it is possible, but just keep in mind that shipping is not free
Exactly.
until teleportation becomes a thing, and then that will be a game changer.
Then we're golden.
All right, guys, let's after that little bit of technical difficulties, it's now an hour 5 into this. So probably start landing the plane here in a little bit. Kai and Jim, what haven't we covered yet about Mid-America that people should know or need to know?
I think we really hit the main aspects of who we are, what we want to do, and how we want to help promote people and take them to that next level. Because that's really, we were that company Northland was, and through the growth of it, lives have been changed and positive, in a positive way. And to be able to help people do that too, to help make businesses better, to make the industry stronger, we're all for it.
And by all means, call us.
Absolutely.
Even if you just want to have a conversation about how things are going, how we do things and everything, give us a call.
So let's talk about that. So how does someone reach out to you guys about maybe either more information about Mid-America or getting pricing? How do they reach out?
Yeah, they can fill out a form on our website. Otherwise, just give us a call, send us an email. We can start going over what you need, how we can help, and kind of those next steps.
Very good. Website real quick. How do people find you on the web?
MidAmericaFenceSupply.com.
Yeah. And we'll be at Fence Tech.
That's right.
We'll be at Fence Tech. We got a big booth, 50 by 50 booth. And actually, ironically, I just played in I wouldn't call it playing, but I attempted to play golf yesterday at Shangri-La for the Midwest chapter of the AFA. And thankfully, I wasn't on Nate Down's team because sometimes he doesn't have his clothes on.
Yeah,
but,
that's true. That's true.
A little shout out to last week, Nate. But we were a platinum sponsor there.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of people coming up to me asking me, hey, what's going on? Introduce yourself. And a lot of people I knew from
Of course.
being in the industry. But, we kind of came in as a stealth, and now people are starting to ask questions. And you'll see us at Fence Tech, and we're excited to be associated with you as well.
Of course. We're so Fence Tech coming up in January. So you'll find them there. But you'll also be seeing a lot more of Mid-America in that Mid-America came on as a platinum sponsor of the Joe Evers channel. So, guys, I appreciate that, obviously, massively. But I also look forward to partnering with you guys and bringing you guys to the viewers and followers.
Yeah, we look forward to it, too.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to, working with you in my past life. I mean, you're just an awesome person to work with, and you're a humble person. You're not the type of person that's going to go out there and beat their chest and tell you how great they are. And I just really appreciate the opportunity to work with you again.
Of course. And I appreciate the plug, and I will pay you that $20 that I owe you for that. I appreciate that. No, guys, this is when we started talking about what this might look like, I was so excited because after a 5-minute conversation with you guys, I knew, one, I love the fact that your background is from fencing, right? Like you come from the fence installation background, which tells me this is going to be a massive success. I mean, Mid-America is because you come from just, the struggles, the pain points, exactly how to fill the need. So when this conversation started progressing, I was like, yes, absolutely. I think this is such a good idea. I think where you're going to go from 4 months ago, it may have been a who is Mid-America Fence to, obviously, Kai, you said it right when you said there was a big splash at the fence show. It was an incredible splash. I think it's going to become, I don't know about a household name. Households don't typically talk about fence company names, but at least within the fencing community, pretty well known. If not already, then fairly quickly. Absolutely. Guys, check out Mid-America Fence. Mark, you want to throw up a link to? Never mind. Mark is always 2 steps ahead, which when you think in the terms like the speed I do, it's easy to stay 2 or 3 steps ahead probably. But check out Mid-America Fence Supply. Like I said, I've hit on this a lot, but I think I think it is important to talk about the experience in that they know how to take care of fence companies, but also they have the inventory. Guys, this is something that is worthy of talking about over and over, in that a tremendous amount of inventory so that no matter what you need or want, it is in stock and ready to go. So,
Absolutely.
guys, appreciate your time. Michael, appreciate you making the trip
Absolutely.
down. Jim and Kai, appreciate you making time on a Saturday morning. I know these aren't always convenient.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Guys, you'll be seeing much more of them in the upcoming future. If you do have questions for Mid-American Fence Supply, obviously you can forward them directly or drop them in the comments below and I can forward them. I don't mind doing that at all. Look forward to seeing more content from Mid-America and watching them grow. I'm pretty excited. Guys, appreciate you guys tuning in, obviously. And then if you're listening to the podcast, check out the live Q&A every Saturday from 10 to 11-ish Central. And we'll go from there. Guys, for now, Joe Everett, the fence expert, along with Mid-America Fence Supply, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors. We'll see you next time.